Good
We're
evening.
live.
And
Welcome to Whiskey Wednesday.
with
Hatter and Sage.
Loquacious Libations is live for Whiskey Wednesday.
Yeah.
How was your week, sir?
Man, crazy week, huh?
Yes.
But we're in the respite out of the storm.
Yes.
You know, we said 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and last week, I think, every time. It's like, okay, leave the crazy shit out there.
Right.
Because if you haven't noticed, it's getting crazier. This last week was crazy.
Let me make sure we're live.
You know, thanks for joining us tonight. We're kind of seeing who's online, looking at us.
Yep, there we are. Okay,
There we
we
go.
are up.
We have anybody in the audience yet?
I can't tell yet. I see one, but that may be actually this phone. Well, we got two. We got somebody out there. I can't tell who yet, but whoever it is, thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, you know, this is the week I've been waiting for.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to talk about last week as we get going tonight, some too, because I had fun.
Yeah, no. Last week was the catalyst, and I've been waiting for it. And having been a bartender and watched this, and then also other people, because it's just kind of part of my cultural or part of my background, I guess, is cocktail culture. I just take it for granted. And I don't have a lot of cocktails, you know. I might, you'll notice this week's bottle is a little bit gone from.
So runs. We'll call it that.
I am having, I can't say I only drink once a week now because I have been having cocktails on Friday nights also.
I've been drinking a little on the side as well. And again,
I know. I'm actually one of the, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right, exactly. Because we got this week to work with.
Yeah, we do. And we got a great cocktail lined up for tonight, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Hi, Sherry Wallace. Sherry T. Thank you for joining us. She was with us the first week. She used to work with my mom in the newspaper business.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Sherry.
And Wayne Powers is out there. Wayne, I used to ride
we love
bicycles
Wayne,
with.
man.
Yes.
You know, Wayne, we will get to that crown. Eventually, we'll get to the crown.
Yes.
I didn't forget.
I think that was the other Wayne, Wayne Kelly.
Oh, it was Wayne Kelly?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the bass player Wayne.
Yeah, okay.
This is bicycle Wayne.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the great part about having all of my friends being the viewers right now.
Yeah, see, I'm learning who you guys are without actually seeing you. So I can't put any faces with a name.
Right. So what do you have for us tonight?
Well, hey, before we get to this, I've been waiting for this week to happen. I've watched this happen to a lot of people, and I've been waiting and watching and not uttering a word to see where Michael was going to get the hook. Okay,
Right.
He was going to catch the cocktail culture bug, and I thought it was going to happen in next week's, because the Manhattan he's been having all of his life, so he's kind of equated that with cocktails. But that is such a narrow. That's a one-trick pony, and there's a lot of riffs off that, and we'll get to some of those cocktails eventually.
And like I said, I've never really been part of any of the cocktail thing. Manhattan was the only thing that was, me growing up having around or anything like that. Going out to bars, I always did Jack and Coke, or my signature drink when I was out playing gigs was the Beam Me Up Scotty. We'll talk about that one another time.
Okay, definitely a Beam product.
No, it was not whiskey at all.
Oh, interesting.
So, Kahlua.
Oh, just a coffee liqueur.
Yeah, it's Kahlua Irish cream creamed and banana layered, so it looks like a transporter bean.
Oh, I get it.
So
Interesting,
anyway.
actually. That's kind of a cool concoction.
Right. So no real cocktails overall.
Well,
so Scott's really introduced me to this, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Oh, absolutely. And well, Michael, I got
My
so
nephew
excited.
Trip is watching. Hello, Trip.
Oh, hey, West Virginia Trip.
No, this would be Shay's son, Trip.
Oh, okay.
Shay's oldest.
Very cool.
Shay's
Hi,
my
Trip.
sister.
Nice to meet you. I've been waiting, watching, and last week Michael all of a sudden the light bulb went off in his head. And then he took a little tiny piece of nugget of information I gave him. He went out and got his own bottle of something different that he's never had before. And he called me up. He's like, holy shit, is this good? And we'll get to that in a minute, too.
Yes.
But the Whiskey Smash, which we had last week, is one of those cocktails, and I warned him. I said, this is one of those cocktails where I've watched people, they drink one, and they go, wow, that's really good. I'll have another one. I'll have another one. I'll have another one. And they get 4 in, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, hey. So
See, I held myself to 2 the day that I did the specialty one, which we'll talk about.
Well, that's the other thing that you got last week that really was exciting for me, and it made me happy because I knew it was bringing you joy.
Right.
And when we're joyful, our frequency is real high, and
exactly.
That's what it's all. And part of this is all about.
Juan is back with us. He was with us last week.
Oh, cool, excellent. Welcome back.
Yep.
So, what Michael did is he took when I said, oh, you can make this into a slushy drink in a blender, he didn't do that.
No.
I said, but you can, it's not just lemons, you can use limes, you can use strawberries, what popped in Michael's head was, well, blueberries, because blueberries are seasoned, because I said, well, what's in season right now? Cherries are in season.
And thanks to my ex, we just got some fresh blueberries that we had frozen, so that was the perfect thing to
Winter blueberry cocktail.
Yes.
So Michael called me.
Recipes on the page.
Michael said, hey, with blueberries, should I use lime juice or lemon juice? I'm like, have you ever walked into a bakery and seen a breakfast muffin that was blueberry lime? No, blueberry lemon.
It'd be perfect.
Well, you know what? That's a drink we're going to have. I've never had that.
Okay.
But it's, I make a coffee cake. That's a blueberry lemon coffee cake.
Nice.
I love that coffee cake. It's my favorite coffee cake.
Okay.
So I can't imagine that this would be not just spectacular.
Well, I'll tell you what, sometime after we finish the blind stuff here and the things we're going to talk about tonight, we'll do that blueberry one night with the Maker's 46.
Absolutely. Well, that's the other thing that Michael took from me last week. Where I said, he said he really likes the Maker's Mark. That was the one he chose in our blind as his favorite, which surprised him to no end.
Right, because I thought I was going to choose the Ancient Age. Since that was what I grew up with.
Well, what's interesting about that is he took that little bit of information, because Maker's Mark makes Maker's 46 cask strength, which is it's a high proof. I think it's around 115 proof. But it's apps with that proof. When you get those high proofs, you get it carries so much flavor with it.
Right.
And it's absolutely delicious whiskey. But a lot of times, and even my palate's not there yet.
Right.
I mean, I know there's people out there that sit there and go, oh, if it's under 115, forget it. Well, I think those people are crazy. My favorite proof point is right here, 100 proof.
And by the way,
105, 104
was nice.
94.4, I think it is.
Well, it was 47% ABV.
Oh, okay. 94.
Yeah.
94.
Yeah.
So that's another. If
94,
you're,
that's right. Yeah.
If you're, this is what I say.
97.
If you take there, for me, this is my palate, 100 proof, plus or minus 10. That's my window. And if I go up to that 110, like here we had Rare Breed, which is 116. That's kind of the top of my palate where I can differentiate flavors from
the barrel and the
right. And my palate's not getting blasted out with alcohol.
Right.
Okay, when I get beyond that, like the Jack we had that one time, the single barrel proof, that's got so much banana in it that it's hard not to get the bananas and the brown sugar.
Even over the alcohol.
But it's like, whoo, you know it when you taste it.
Yeah,
so, at any rate, he went out and bought himself a bottle of Maker's 46. And it wasn't 15 minutes after he probably had his first sip, he's texting me, holy shit, is this stuff good? I'm like, yes, I told you, Maker's 46. So that was exciting for me to see you coming into to
all of it.
To all of it,
the
really.
whiskeys themselves, and then now, of course, the cocktail side of it, too. So
and that leads us into actually an item, and we need your help.
Yes, we're going to do a poll on this later on. So
yeah, and we'll leave it up for a week, and you guys are going to tell us.
My cousin Skip is watching, Chaz Huggins. Skip, I don't know where in the world you are right now, but he's on a boat out there in the Middle East somewhere, I believe.
Oh, that's really fucking cool.
I haven't seen you for a long time, brother. Thank you for joining. He was my brother from young. We grew up from tiny together.
I gotcha.
This is Huggins.
I have a cousin that's
we've done the tributes to a couple times.
Like that. Yeah. So
thank you for joining, Skip.
Awesome.
Love you, brother.
Thanks, Skip. Okay, agenda item.
Poll.
A poll. We're going to put up a poll. We'll leave it up for a week. we have two ideas. There's a blind that we're going to do that we've already kind of talked about and agreed on, and we're going to do a blind. It's a bourbon blind again, but it's a bonded budget bourbon blind. Budget
Triple B.
budget
4B.
budget
I didn't
bonded bourbon blind. There you go. And there's four. We're still hunting for 2 bottles, although I know where I can get one.
All right.
And I'm hoping that the store, okay, you might have been watching some whiskey shorts now or some cocktail shorts. Okay. Liquor Store 352, the two young fellas.
Okay.
They have a channel. They have about 700,000 followers too.
Really?
They have Gator Liquor on University right next to the McDonald's across the street.
Right.
That's their store. Okay.
Nice.
And they have the very old Barton Bonded.
They do.
Yes.
You've been looking for that.
Yes, I have been. And the other bottle that I'm hoping to find, it's in this market, it's kind of hard to find, but I would almost drive to find it. I would check stores in Valdosta to see if, I mean, it's worth the drive. It's Early Times Bottle and Bond.
All right.
So we'll have 4 bottles again. I think 4 bottles, and they're all relatively, under $25 again.
Okay.
Everything. I mean, the Early Times, you get a liter for like $18,
Gotcha.
and that might win it. I mean, I've had it, and it's really good whiskey. So surprisingly good. So, and that's the other thing. The other one item I wanted to bring up is everybody kind of, I think if you've been watching this for a few weeks now, you get to, and we said it to open the show. This is your respite in the storm. The world is fucking crazy.
Yes,
and
it is.
Skip, man, I've been where you are. I got injured where you are. I hope to God that nothing real serious comes afoot with what's going on. But the second, yeah,
The guys are trying to thought.
there's my PTSD coming out.
Right.
I had some seriously bad memories. The second thing that we try to do on this channel is if you watch whiskey channels or you watch the Whiskey Tube, everybody's talking about going hunting and they're unicorn chasing, and then you'll get somebody that goes into a museum store and they'll have all the special bottles. And now I got offered a bottle this week.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Now it'll make you laugh. The MSRP on this bottle is $70.
Okay.
Okay. I walked into a little liquor store in High Springs, Florida. I've been in and out of there because it's right by the post office.
Right.
Okay. So I just
On your way at work, right?
Right. Okay. So I walk in there, and the guy's name is Sean, but he's from India, so it kind of throws you for a loop. But as he says, it's his real name.
Right.
And when I walked in this week, he's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you for a while. How you doing? Blah blah blah." I said, "Well, you got anything special?" He pulls out a George T. Stagg, a 2023 version of George T. Stagg, because BTAC Buffalo Trace hasn't released this year's yet.
Okay.
And he goes, "There you go. Do you want it?" I asked him, "What's the price?" Mm-hmm. Guess the price.
You said MSRP was $70?
$70.
Sounds like you're in pretty good with him. I'm going to say he offered it to you for $40.
He offered it to me for $1,499.
Oh!
It's a unicorn bottle.
Gotcha.
It's a unicorn bottle.
That shows you how much I know about any of this shit.
No, that's fine. But that's a unicorn bottle. Is it worth that? Fuck no. Is it worth $70? Every penny. If it was $70, it would be no question. It would have walked out the door. Okay. The second purpose to this channel is we're not chasing these crazy bottles.
Right.
We're not doing that. What we want to do is say now value proposition. There's a bottle coming up that I texted you a picture of.
Okay.
It was the double oaked.
Right.
It's a $60 bottle. So is it a $24 bottle, $23 bottle. No, it's a $60 bottle of whiskey, and it's the same amount of liquid fluid ounces that bottle has. But is it worth $60? Fuck no, it's not worth $60. It's worth $150. So the value proposition, I've had $150 whiskey that isn't as good as that $60 bottle. So that's the biggest thing. Have I made the mistake and bought something that was expensive and then been drastically disappointed by it?
Right.
Absolutely. And kind of my benchmark, I know, it's my favorite rail drink. I like Wild Turkey 101. I like this a lot, but Wild Turkey 101 will be our next week's featured whiskey. I've had so many whiskeys that are twice as expensive as that aren't as good. And it's just disappointing.
Right.
So, and it's the thing that's hard is, my wallet's right here. I know where it is all the time. I'm not one of those people that just walks around and has money to burn.
Exactly.
And we're not making $10,000 a month on YouTube because I think we have 20 followers.
Right. We're not making anything on any of this yet. We're just having fun.
We're just having fun.
Which is what we're here to do.
That's the purpose of this anyways. But if you're watching us, we want to bring you value as best as we can because I think most people will appreciate the whiskey that we are showing and the cocktails that we're showing.
Right.
So
speaking of, what are we doing tonight?
We're getting to the cocktails. Tonight we're doing a Gold Rush. The Gold Rush is a modern riff kind of on two different really old cocktails that came out of the Roaring 20s. The Whiskey Sour and the Bee's Knees, which is a gin cocktail. But if you take this recipe and you put gin in it rather than whiskey, you got the Bee's Knees. But the Bee's Knees would be served up in a coupe glass. And so would a Whiskey Sour. The Gold Rush, we're gonna serve it with a big giant ice cube that's supposed to resemble a golden nugget. So,
one side note before we get any further, Chaz just said, I needed to see what all the hype was about. Great to see you. 0345 here afloat in the Arabian Gulf. You're making me thirsty. Thank you again for joining us, especially we're international now.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
That's
really fucking. What ship are you on? See if he'll answer that.
I don't know if he can answer that for us.
Okay.
But there's the question for you if you're still with us there. Susie Q is here. Carmen, our regular, our biggest fan.
Thanks, Carmen. We're relying on you. You better answer the poll, too.
Yes, we're going to do a poll.
We're going to post a poll.
Since you just started, but we're going to post a poll a little bit later. So back to the Gold Rush.
Okay, the Gold Rush. The Gold Rush is credited to a barman by the name of T.J. Siegel. He was working at the New York drinking establishment called the Milk and Honey, which unfortunately closed. But it was a very well known when the cocktail revival around the turn of the century, 2000, the year 2000, and in the early 2000, Milk and Honey opened, and some fantastic cocktails came out of that particular establishment. It first appeared, I think, on their menu in 2001. Okay. So we'll call this a modern classic. Again, it's made with honey syrup. Now, honey syrup, what is honey syrup?
I was going to ask that.
Everybody,
just honey,
Yeah, because if you take honey and you pour it into a cocktail, especially a shaken cocktail, well, that honey's going to stick to the inside of your either copper or stainless shaker, whatever you have. It's not going to blend right.
Right.
So what do you got to do? You take honey, and I use a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you're going to make a cup of honey, you would use 2/3 of a cup of pure honey, and then 1/3 of a cup of hot filtered or bottled water. You don't want to use tap water because tap water's got chlorine in it, and it adds a flavor that is terrible to your cocktail. Okay. That's why when we use cocktail ice, it's filtered water that we're using.
Right.
Which reminds me, I got to grab the big cubes out of our thing. So this is a very simple cocktail to make. It's a
Louis B. Puller.
Oh, okay.
And Wayne Kelly is with us. That's the Wayne you were talking about earlier about the
Yes.
So, thank you, Chaz. Good to know that too.
That is.
That's cool.
Here, let me grab those cubes.
Yes. So Scott's been hyping this for me all week. Originally, we were talking about doing the whiskey sour with the Old Forrester.
Yeah, I guess I should I should say why it is I chose to do this tonight rather than the sour, and there's only one reason, because this whiskey pairs better with the honey flavor profile than does 101, Wild Turkey 101.
And you know what? I noticed something about that the other day when I was making the blueberry cocktail the other day, the blueberry smash. I used Knob Creek to start out with. Well, my second run, I ran out of Knob Creek. I had about 1.5 ounces instead of 2 ounces. So I used the Maker's 46 to top it off. And I can tell you right now that the Maker's is going to complement that blueberry that much better.
Where did that just go?
That's quite all right.
It's right by your foot.
All right, very good. There we go.
So I'll take that one.
All right.
This one, well, Jesus.
So Wayne Kelly, since you're watching, I'll talk about something while Scott's doing this.
Well, I'm battling this lemon.
So an old friend of mine, David Henson, sent me a note earlier this week. Now, David was the bass player in the very first band I was ever in. It was called 166. He ran across a videotape.
I suck.
You haven't even had a drink yet, man.
I'm sucking tonight. God, I'm sucking.
But he ran across
All right, let's
videotape,
build a cocktail.
and it was the first gig I ever played, period. My very first public performance on videotape. It's an old tape. He doesn't have a player that will play it right now, but he's going to try to get it digitized, so that should be fun.
Well, that's cool.
It will probably be horrible, to tell you the truth, on my side, because, like I said, it was the first band I was ever in. I wasn't even using a real keyboard. It was, it was a real one. It was a Kawai, was the brand name on it, but it was a 49-key mid-size keys. So instead of this, it was like
Oh, the tiny
two-thirds size.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So playing like this out there. But that was no, it was not at a high school. It was at Pier 5, Wayne, out on Highway 5 in Douglasville.
All right, this cocktail, if you don't want to use fresh squeezed lemon juice, that's fine. You can just use regular lemon juice. You're using 1 ounce of lemon juice. It's just very simple. It's 1 ounce of syrup, 1 ounce of lemon juice, and 2 ounces of bourbon, shaken. But you'll see there's a little twist to this. You add a twist at the end. You don't use you double strain this, and I'll get to that when
Ooh, nice. You missed me.
Yeah, I almost got myself in the eye.
I saw that. That's the great part about glasses. Got a little bit of protection over here.
There we go. Yeah, I didn't bring my readers this week. Did you notice?
I see that, yeah. You'll notice Scott has some readers that connect, usually.
Okay, let's get to pouring this. So, honey syrup.
Honey syrup. But Wayne, Greg Thomas loaned me that keyboard. And we played Pier 5 for a couple of weeks, I think. That was my first outing ever in playing in a band. All right, so you got all the ingredients in there. We're ready to shake it up, huh? I say, I don't have this set up.
Yeah, real
I
shit.
just have the simple one.
Now, how do you know when it's ready?
Last time you said when it's cold.
Cold enough?
That's pretty damn cold.
Yeah. It's amazing what that will do, and it creates a vacuum.
Right.
Oh, there we go. Now,
Okay.
the reason that we double strain this, your golden nugget,
Okay.
we double strain because when you shake, the ice blasts into little tiny crystals.
Nice.
And you don't want to dilute this drink any more than it already is.
Right.
And notice that it is with that giant ice cube.
Yep. Turns it
You
cold.
look, you see all the little crystals?
Yep.
See if I can get that to the camera. That's what you
Let's see
get.
what your
You're
view looks
keeping
like
it
right
out
now.
of the drink.
Yep. Good shot.
Yeah, cool. There you go.
Thank you,
There's your
sir.
Gold Rush, sir.
And as usual, I will wait for you to have yours.
Now, what's nice about this too is if you're making multiples, you can just you just constantly use the same.
Churn them out, right?
Yes.
And while we're doing this, I'll talk about a little bit about the blueberry one that I did.
Oh yeah, that has got to be a great.
It was. It was really cool sitting in there and making it. And you can find over on the Loquacious Libations Facebook page, you can find the recipe and the photo album that shows you how to do it and everything. But I did, of course, the de-seeding and all that. Added the mint, added the blueberry, added the lemon in there, and crushed it all up.
It has to be just fantastic flavor.
Oh, it was. It was incredible flavor. But I only had a single strainer. So one thing, it was more pulpy, and those ice shreds.
Yeah.
Plus, I actually, you're going to like this, I smashed the ice too. I didn't have crushed ice, but I actually put some in a Ziploc bag and took a hammer to it.
Oh yeah, you know,
So
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's some larger chunks, but some smaller chunks in there too. So
And a smash should be
nice.
really, if you can, a smash should be served with pebble ice.
Pebble ice, gotcha.
So you did it right.
Yep. So, but yeah, it was great for a hot summer day like that too. And I had a stainless steel mug. You saw that I had gotten somewhere, we'll say.
Yeah, no, that kind of is appropriate because all the smashes are kind of a riff on juleps. And juleps are always served properly, if they're served properly, in a copper mug.
Okay.
So a mint julep is served in a copper mug.
And of course, it had the mint sprig and the blueberry
Yeah.
on top of it too. So it was perfect. But yeah, the flavor was really nice. Now, the first time I did a half a lemon.
Oh, you know what I forgot about yours? Sorry, sir.
No worries. I hadn't even touched it yet. Nice.
That's a lemon zest. I'm doing this because it expresses the oils, the lemon oils, out, and before when I started the night out, I showed Michael, look at how much oil is on this lemon.
Right.
We got a real oily lemon.
Yep.
By luck of
Good
the draw,
stuff.
really.
Good stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it kind of had almost that pulpy and the ice crystal effect to it. So it was really nice and refreshing for. Like I said,
Oh
sitting
yeah.
out there in the hot
'Cause,
sun.
it's been only like what 95 degrees here.
Right. And as you know, our air conditioning has been acting up.
Oh yeah.
Thank goodness for Roger and the maintenance crew here at the apartment. But it was a lot of fun doing that. And I did here on Friday night. I did a rare extra drink myself too. This is Saturday when I did the blueberry thing. I did a margarita, but I did it smash style.
Oh, which has got to be interesting. Now,
Yeah.
did you salt the? You did. I forgot you texted me about that.
Yeah.
Did you salt the rim?
No, I did not actually. I didn't use any salt or anything, so it was just a natural,
Just a
flavor margarita. You know, no salt even added to it, and I used agave syrup as opposed to the simple syrup like we did for the smash last week. Just did some fresh lime and shook that up, and
it was probably
really good.
fantastic.
Oh yeah. It was really good.
It makes such a big difference if you're using fresh ingredients in your cocktails.
Exactly. It was the freshest tasting margarita I'd ever had.
Yeah.
You know.
This is the old school tradition was renewed in the early 1980s, and I think I mentioned this a week or two ago, by Dale DeGraff, who opened the Rainbow Room, which is on top of the Rockefeller Center in New York City. And he was making classic cocktails using fresh ingredients, and the cocktail culture reemerged, basically, at that point in time. Ooh, that's cold. Damn it, Jim.
Go away. Okay, there we go. So Sherry says it looks yummy. Sherry, we'll tell you in just a minute how yummy it is.
Yeah, what's nice about this is you really do taste the honey. It is in there. And it's got great color.
Well, here I've actually been holding this statement off for a little while because of wanting to save it for the for the show here. But when I first heard about this, I was a little skeptical actually,
Okay.
because this is exactly the ingredients that my granddaddy used to make homemade cough syrup. Pardon me. A little bourbon, lemon juice, honey, tablespoon of that. Well, here we are. Gold Rush.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers to all of you. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Oh my gosh. That's really good.
That's so tasty. All these cocktails are tasty.
That is tasty. That really is.
And it pairs, the honey
Oh, yeah, I was gonna
complements this particular flavor profile so very well.
I like the combo with that bourbon specifically. I can tell the difference in the profile kind of from, you're developing my palate.
Yeah, I know.
Even though I can't necessarily identify it now, I can.
Well, I got a gift for you that I'm probably going to get at Christmas time.
Okay.
That will help you along that path a long way.
All right.
So,
man, that is nice.
I know, and this is another one of those cocktails where it's like you don't feel like you're drinking 2 ounces of booze.
Right.
It's just and in this cocktail, as opposed to last week where you really don't taste the alcohol, this is such a complementary flavor. The lemon and the honey complements bourbon almost regardless of what bourbon you use.
Right.
Just so well that it just, you know that it's there, but because it's one of the flavor drivers in the drink. But the honey and the lemon drive as much flavor.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
and one thing I'm noticing, too, is that, of course, lemon is obviously going to be a highlight flavor with bourbon.
Absolutely.
Last week and this week we've used, I believe, if I remember correctly, doesn't the sour use
yes.
lemon as well?
Yeah.
So
yeah, the thing that makes
pairs real with citrus, period.
Yeah.
The orange or the old-fashioned.
Yep, orange and the old-fashioned. Again, lime will go well with a lot of things. Most fresh fruit, like here, another smash, it's really very good, is a raspberry smash is with lime juice is fabulous, and so is the strawberry, but the raspberry is better to me because a lot of bourbons, you'll get raspberry notes out of the bourbon itself, so it's a very complementary flavor.
Right.
So, hey, let's talk about the poll that we're going to put up.
Yes.
So we can
Yes.
preview for you guys. We want some input.
Right. So Scott's got some plans for us in the next few weeks after we finish our blind run, which will be over next week with our Whiskey Towers with Wild Turkey 101.
Correct.
So after that,
we're going to let you guys kind of drive some of the content. So we have the blind that we talk about, another blind, which is a bonded bourbon blind coming up, and it's a budget bonded bourbon blind. And there's 2 bottles in there. There are 4 very unique bottles in 2 of the bottles. Everything's under $25 again. But 2 of the bottles are known for $60 bottle killers. So that's exciting. We can do that, do another blind, or it's summertime in the Northern Hemisphere at least. Okay? So in the summertime, for whatever reason, gin, and I've said this many times on our podcast or our live stream. I mean, and I said, geez, you gotta try a couple of gin drinks. Well, you made the comment, oh, I don't want to drink pine sap.
my one experience was not that pleasant with gin. And if Pam McBride,
and that's because you had
Pam McBride Stewart. Yeah,
I can guarantee you had very inexpensive London dry style gin.
Probably so. And it's not that I got sick or anything like that. I just didn't like it. It was like pine tree and turpentine.
I get it. Well, I have a 4, and we developed this when I was bartending 40 years ago now. I hate to say that, literally. It's 38 years ago I was a bartender. At that point in time, the cocktail culture was getting revived, and we made a lot of these type of drinks. Now, this drink didn't exist yet, but the old school drinks were getting revived. So we learned how to make several gin cocktails because people wanted to try gin cocktails. There was a lot of kids. We were kids back then. They were 20, 21, 8, 19 years old that were like, hey, my parents drink, vodka or gin martinis.
Right.
I can't stand them. How do they drink that? Well, there's a series of drinks that's a month long, meaning 4 weeks, 4 consecutive weeks. And on the 4th week, I can make you a gin martini that you'll be like, holy cow. But we'll also talk about gin is another thing. To be a gin, it's just like, okay, to be a bourbon, what does it have to be? It has to be at least 51% corn. Mm-hmm. It has to be aged in virgin oak American barrels. It needs to be aged at least 2 years. And then you can put bourbon whiskey on your label. All right. If it's a gin, it has to be at least 50% juniper. But then you got all kinds of other botanicals. Now, the inexpensive London Dry Gin, mm-hmm. they'll put 1 or 2 other things in there, and that's it. So you get all that piney juniper flavor.
Right.
Well, if you don't really like that, or if the cocktail's not made properly,
right.
I mean, you got in here, bathtub gin. Bathtub gin is just cheap shit. That's basically what it is. Okay?
Right.
But now gin is inexpensive. I mean, you can go out and buy a really decent bottle of gin for $25.
Okay.
If you step it up and spend $35, it's like that $400 bottle of booze of bourbon.
Bourbon, right?
Okay, because bourbon's out of control right now.
Right.
So the poll that we're going to say is, what do you guys kind of want to see? Do you want us to go down the summer trail and make some gin cocktails, or do you want us to do a bourbon blind that's the bonded bourbon, because bourbon's the hot topic right now?
Right.
Tell us what you want. We're going to put that up. And whichever one wins, that's what we're going to do, and we'll just follow your lead.
Exactly. Okay, so we'll put that up tonight before you leave after the broadcast. We'll work on that a little bit back here.
Hey, some more whiskey news too, by the way. Speaking about how out of control bourbon is, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago now, we were talking about how the barrel market, the bourbon barrel market, mm-hmm. was experiencing some drastic price reductions in the barrel market. So, right. Meaning,
and you're talking about in the investment barrel market, right?
Correct.
Barrel investment, rather.
So there are. It is a one particular large blender of bourbons that puts out a great product, but they are selling one of their bottling lines in Louisville, and they sold off a tremendous amount of barrels at fire sale prices. And to give you kind of a clue, because my rumor in the market is the bottling line is has the ability to run 24/7, and I forget how many bottles per day that they can bottle, but it's one of those automated rapid things.
Right.
Typically, to set up that operation is about a $20 million investment for these companies. They're selling that bottling line for $5 million is the asking price.
Wow.
So that's 25% of the price to build. Of course, somebody's going to buy that. I mean, that's one of the big companies will buy that because they'll just expand.
Right.
But the other thing that's been interesting, and I saw this a couple days ago, is there's a bunch of people in the market that are just like you and I, mm-hmm. that are going out and they're whiskey hunting all the time, which is a fun thing to do, but it's going to cost you money.
Right. And right now, I'm really just kind of looking around when I go out because I don't know much what I'm doing.
It's okay.
We've talked about doing other content. You know what I'd love to do is figure out someday that you and I can go on a bourbon hunt and actually
just drive around and get 4 or 5 stores.
And we could even film some of what we do. And
yeah, well, that's how you get to know the people. That's one of the. Well, I'm getting off on a tangent. There we go again. All right. Anyways, a couple of the whiskey tube people that are fairly popular that are in liquor stores all the time now are starting to see a change in the whiskey market. The price of Scotch is accelerating all of a sudden,
Great.
Like in the last month. Now, Michael got disappointed this week. I know you got disappointed when you saw that. So we'll get to that. But what's interesting is the bourbon market is now all of a sudden some of the bottles that are typically like a $50 bottle are $39 all of a sudden.
Right.
Or $45. So there's like a 10% to 20% reduction in certain bottles in the market. Well,
Right.
it's not any of the big labels. It's kind of more, I won't say the small, real small guys, but it's kind of the midline players that all of a sudden are starting to sense maybe that, hey, we're not selling as much as we used to.
Right.
We like the money we're making.
I've noticed some sales even at the grocery store, liquor stores. Here,
Well, you know, that 46 that you got.
Exactly. That 46 that I got is normally $46.99.
Which,
Right.
here, now, I'll tell you, the first bottle of 46 I bought was $29.
Right. And I got that bottle for $29.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I bought my first bottle of that probably 5 years ago.
Okay.
So maybe that's where we're getting back into the non-craziness. But you know, it's funny now, but this bottle has been $23 for as long. The bottle I buy the most of is Wild Turkey 101. Mm-hmm. That's been $22 for I don't know how long.
Right.
That's been $22 back to going to Obama administration.
The handle, Ancient Age, that I always get for Christmas time is always $18.99 when I was able to find it. Now, this past year I wasn't able to find it. That's when I ended up with the Knob Creek.
Oh, well, there's another rumor in the market.
Okay.
One of the bonded products, Buffalo Trace came out with a line of, they have a label, was made originally by McAfee's. They've kept the McAfee name on there. It's McAfee's Benchmark. The rumor in the market is that Benchmark there are about 6 or 7 different profiles within the Benchmark label. Mm-hmm. That is one of the bonded products we'll have, the Benchmark Bonded.
Okay.
It's $20, $19.99. I have watched blind tastings on the Whiskey Tube that's beating $50 bottles. So, and it's a Buffalo Trace product, so I know you're going to like the profile.
Right.
But the rumor in the market is that Benchmark is doing so well that they're going to discontinue Ancient Age again.
Well, now that I've got an appreciation for other bourbons, it'll just be being sad that I'm not able to get it anymore.
That's the other thing that I wanted to mention tonight on our thing. It's really interesting because the light bulbs, I don't like to say the light bulb's gone off in your head, but...
Still getting used to the tiny set over here, y'all. Sorry.
Yeah. You've got the whiskey bug, the whiskey cocktail bug. The cocktail bug has got you. Well, what's interesting is you're also learning your palate. Mm-hmm. And then the Maker's Mark. The Maker's Mark is a weeder. So, and what I mean by that is the mash bill. Here, this mash bill is corn, rye whiskey, and malted barley. That mash bill is corn, wheat, and malted barley.
Gotcha.
Okay? Weeders are typically softer, sweeter.
Okay.
Okay? And what I mean by softer is they coat your palate differently than this with the whiskey does.
I understand exactly where you're coming from there. It's not to do with like the Kentucky Hug being warmer compared to softer or something.
That's just proof.
Whoops. Alice, you're getting in my way back here.
Gotta stop slapping her.
Well, you know what? Apparently that's all I've done because I still ain't even tried to learn yet, even though I've got this stuff ready to go.
Anyways, go on.
I don't have time in the day. Where was I?
Oh, well, the other thing I was going to say, I know you like the Buffalo Trace profile.
Right.
Buffalo Trace is their primary weeder is Weller, the Weller line. And there's 6 or 7 different Weller labels. But I've had at least 4 different Wellers. That is not a value proposition. Because those are 40, 50, 60 bucks, and this is better. Regular Makers is better.
That's probably going to be my keep some around
your go-to
now. Yeah, my go-to now. Ancient Age, I'll probably, being that the case,
you have that handle, so keep it.
I was going to say, I'll probably find me another handle and then just put them back and have it for Christmas time because I'm sorry, that's an eggnog thing. Yeah.
You know what? A lot of people would pan that, and I think that that's a mistake because Ancient Age has got that. It's classic Buffalo Trace juice. It's very butterscotch. It's got a great butterscotch note to it. It's an $18 bottle or a $16 bottle. So
For the handle.
right.
Yeah,
so you're not going to hit this long finish, and you're not going to get the big Kentucky hug, and you're not going to get complexity of flavor.
Right.
It's a one-trick pony. But you know what? We had the first cocktail we made. Was that a good cocktail?
It was awesome.
Fucking A, it was a good cocktail.
Yeah.
That's a great mixer.
Chaz, if you're still with us, it was Granddaddy's Manhattan. We even made it with the Gallo Vermouth. So,
Yeah. The first week, if you want to go back and watch that, if you're bored off your ass laying in your bunk.
Right. That was a bit of a free-for-all. It was me and Scott and another guy. We didn't have good microphones. It was the very first show.
And we were we drank more than anything else. We weren't paying attention to you guys.
Much. Yeah. Nearly as much. But, and speaking of that, I am enjoying the format that we're doing here now, that we've kind of come into a rhythm a little bit with it.
Yeah, it's... Well, I told you all week, I've been looking forward to this week more than anything. And the other good news, of course, I texted you today that, unfortunately, and I've said this before on our live stream, that my job, I work the weekends, typically, sometimes sometimes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, sometimes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
The company that I work for, the owner would he's got other things going on, so sometimes I would substitute for him on Thursdays. Well,
which meant
no Whiskey Wednesday because 3 o'clock in the morning comes early, and I was getting up at 3 o'clock.
Right.
So, but the company has hired another driver because the owner and his wife, and more power to them, they bought a bar restaurant out in Horseshoe Beach, and they're remodeling it and getting that up and running the way that they want it. So it's taking him away from this because he knows that I can handle the anything that comes up. I've been working for him for 8 years now.
Right.
So, but it's nice because the other driver means that what I like it for now is, okay, that's fantastic because he needs the money. He's got little kids. He's going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
And I get the easy stuff.
There you go.
So, but I still get enough money to spend on bourbon.
Right. Exactly. Enough money to survive and to have some fun too.
Yeah, well, it makes my wife happy that I have a job. I've threatened to quit a few times on her, and she's like, "You can't quit."
And speaking of that, Scott was talking about that he's been drinking a little bit more and having some on Friday night here and there. Well, apparently he's previewing for his wife as well. So,
Yes,
so she's checking our menu and seeing what we're doing.
And
that's pretty cool.
She said so far her favorite. I've already made her next week's drink in a coupe glass, and I made it 2 ways for her because there's 2 ways to make that drink.
Okay.
One is the traditional way with the egg white, and the other was, I forget what the stuff is called, but it's the juice that comes in chickpea cans.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh, the egg white's much better."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please do the egg white.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was. I just opened a can.
Pea juice just doesn't sound good.
I just opened a can of chickpeas. Well, you know what? It's surprisingly it's not bad.
Right.
It's not as good as, but it's still not bad.
This is incredibly good. I'm enjoying
you
this.
can taste the honey, can't you?
Oh yeah.
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 And that's.
But it's not thick. It's not cloying.
No. It's not like
coating.
Right.
And so when you said
now here
the ingredients, and I said Granddaddy's cough syrup, that's what I was thinking was that coat's on the way down.
because it was straight up honey.
Right.
Well, you got to sit there and stir, but if it's already pre-stirred and pre-mixed.
Exactly.
Now here, take the bourbon out and put the gin in.
Okay.
And make a good gin, not the fucking pine needles that you're talking about. And you have the bee's knees. Now the bee's knees is served up in a coupe glass, which I've got coupe glasses, and that's why we're going to do whatever you guys want us to do.
Right.
Okay. We're going to get to one or the other anyways, because we're going to run out of material eventually. So we just got to
Yeah.
keep coming up with stuff, which is easy to do
Exactly.
because we're talking about cocktails. Do you know how many cocktails there are?
And variations too. You know.
Here, the Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, I know how to make about 6 or 7 Manhattan riffs.
Right.
You know, and there's so many.
What?
Because that's my favorite cocktail.
You talk about riffing, making shit up sometimes too, like I did the other night with the.
That's
margarita,
why that's why they're riffs. Here's a classic riff. You've heard of Tia Maria.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Coffee liqueur. Okay? Whiskey, and typically it should be a rye whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, Tia Maria. It's called a revolver.
Okay.
It's just a Manhattan riff. It's a fantastic cocktail. Is it different from a Manhattan? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Totally different flavor profile on that.
Completely different flavor profile. So,
But yeah, a riff off of it.
yeah, I can't. You know, another thing I'm looking forward to, and we might have to before we hit the fork in the road, we might have to do the value bottle, the $60 value bottle, which is the double oak. And for those of you that want to know in advance, it's Sagamore Rye double oak. Now Sagamore, I want to say it was on our second broadcast, or it was before
You mentioned it.
we started. No, I think before we started live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
You've had the Sagamore Calvados finish,
Yes.
which you really liked.
believe.
Michael really liked that, and that's they're out of Baltimore, Maryland. They're typically they're taking MGP, which is Midwestern Grain Products, which they go by some other name now. They take their juice and you saved the bottle.
Yep.
Okay, here,
That's how much I liked it.
well, for what it's worth, if you go out in the market and you see this bottle, I don't care what the price is, unless it's astoundingly ridiculous. It should be somewhere around $70. Buy it. It will, because the juice that's in this bottle is not $70. It's a $200 juice.
It will knock your socks off. That is by far the best straight sip whiskey we've done yet together.
Well, this company makes their finished ryes. They make a double oaked that is readily.
Hi, Michelle.
Michelle
Miller, daughter of David Miller of
Yeah.
House Band. Yeah.
They make a double oaked, which is readily available. That's another thing that we're trying to accomplish in this. We're not chasing unicorns. We're not paying for unicorns. Now, if I walk into a store and I see a Stag Junior for under $200, now Stag Junior is not the George T. Stagg, the tall bottle. Mm-hmm. It's the small bottle, still 750 milliliters, but it's a different bottle. It's just now it's called Stag. Okay. It used to be called Stag Junior. If I find that is absolutely astoundingly delicious whiskey, if I find it under $200, I'll probably buy it. Because it's just that good. That's a value. Even though the retail on that, the MSRP on that, I think is also $70. Which, if you could what I pay $200, that's a museum store price.
Right.
And what I say by museum stores, there are stores out there that they have these unicorn bottles. Pappy Van Winkle, George T. Stagg, William Llewellyn, that are exorbitantly priced. That's just it drives me crazy, and I'm hoping that'll be the last part of the market to decline in price, unfortunately. But this particular, going back to my main point, mm-hmm. This particular company makes finished whiskeys, finished rye whiskeys that are their base product comes out of Midwestern Grain Products, which is out of Indiana, right across the border from Louisville, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So really good water, we know that. Their finished whiskeys are just absolutely outstanding. They also make another one that's called Manhattan Finish.
Really?
That is spectacular it's $70 worth every penny of the $70.
Nice. Now, if I remember correctly, didn't this kind of have a little bit of an apple?
Yeah, what Calvados is French. Calvados is apple brandy that is aged in French oak barrels. Calvados is a French apple brandy, basically. Mm-hmm. So the reason they don't have this has disappeared from the. If you find this in a store, it's going to be called a Dusty, because it's going to be called a Dusty because there's going to be dust on the bottle. It hasn't been in the market for at least 4 years now.
Really?
Yeah, because the barrels are so hard to come by. They don't make a lot of those barrels.
Gotcha.
So, I haven't talked to the Sagamore people to know if they might be aging some more right now. I don't know. I simply don't know. They might not ever come out with it again, which makes the bottle. And I happen to find a couple of these bottles somewhere, and they're priced at $70. And okay. My daughter is very close to where they are, and I'm going to buy them, and she's going to pick them up.
There you go. All right, sweet.
So
I can look forward to having some more of that in the future then.
Because I will have more. I have another bottle of that is got, I think, 1 or 2 ounces removed from it.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah. Now, here, and we made this point last week, and I think you're starting to get, looking at your Baker's 46 bottle over there, you're getting it.
Yeah.
There's only 25 ounces in here. 25 ounces. Now, for me, I've got all adult children.
One bottle goes in one day, pretty much, then.
Well, not one day, but
not really.
If I make everybody a cocktail in my house at 2 ounces of cocktail, that's half a bottle.
Right.
There's 25.4 ounces in 750 milliliters. That's why people buy handles. And what I mean by handles is it's a bottle that literally has a handle on it, and it's 1.75 liters. If you're, now I don't like buying handles. I've never found something that I like so much that comes in a handle. That's worth it. If this was a handle, I'd buy this in a handle. It doesn't come in a handle. If this came in a handle, I wouldn't buy this in a handle.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Muting that. I was getting something ready for us back here.
Oh, are we coming up on our cue time?
Close. Yeah, we're getting close.
Okay.
So, but since I'm on the LL YouTube over here, there's ads.
Oh, of course. You should have just muted it.
Right, that's what I did just then.
Yeah.
I just forgot that the sound was up. There you go. Okay. So I've got it ready when we get ready. We don't have to start it right away. Okay.
We haven't been getting flagged, have we?
No.
Yeah.
No, I tell you what did get flagged, though. Here, you're going to get a kick out of this. Okay, I did the Blueberry Smash this weekend.
Yeah.
On Facebook, I was playing around with some of the social stuff, on there, and I decided to do a reel based on the album of all the step-by-step pictures that I took, that I sent you and everything, right?
I got to turn that alarm off tonight.
I know, right?
Learning to fly.
So anyway, I put it up as a reel, and I picked from the Facebook library, okay? Blueberry Hill. Elvis Presley.
Yeah, Elvis
right?
Presley.
Okay, so that was behind the Blueberry Smash, right? And it was really cool, and then, I even mentioned it to a friend and everything like that was an Elvis fan. And Coach Bridges, hello, I see you out there. But a couple of days later, it was flagged for copyright, and they muted it. And today, it was blocked. So I still got the album and everything up with the recipe.
But the music is blocked.
But the reel was totally blocked, so I just took it back down. I mean, but come on, Zuckerberg, you're going to offer...
it's AI.
Yeah.
It's just AI that's driving it, and it clicks a box, and you get whacked.
Well, don't offer the music if you can't use it.
Here, You know what's funny
That's all I'm
is
saying.
YouTube. YouTube, we can say F-U-C-K on here, no problem.
Right.
But if we say F-A-G,
Right.
pow, you're
Gone.
demonetized.
Wow. See, that's crazy. And there's nothing to do with the word itself or anything like that. It's just free speech. You know. Period. Anyway, that's one of those things we're not going to get
Let's
into.
not get on the soapbox, right?
We're not going to go in that direction because that's one of our rules.
We're
right
at
there.
the end of our cocktail.
We're at the end of our cocktail. We're almost at the end of the show. We do need to cover a couple of things, though, kind of housekeeping.
Fire away.
Things.
Go.
Don't forget to please help us get over to another format here. We're on Facebook Live right now. We're on my music page. To do this on Facebook, you've got to have at
With
least
our own page.
With our own page, with the Loquacious Libations page, we need to have 100 followers over there. So tell all your friends, get them to go over there, like us, follow us on the Facebook page for Loquacious Libations. At the end of 60 days of being a new page, we will begin to be able to cast from over there as long as we have 100 followers. YouTube is kind of similar. We have to have 100 followers 50 followers, 50 subscribers over there in order to be able to cast live from YouTube.
Just to those 50 subscribers over there?
No. 50 and 25 more live.
Okay.
That are not subscribers. So anybody who subscribes can see it, period. And 25 public can see it live. Anybody can watch the replay.
Okay.
So there's our stats.
Now here,
right
and
there.
you know, I want to say something because one of the things that Michael and I looked at was you can buy
right
subscribers on YouTube, and at 1,000 subscribers, you can just live stream to an open audience, and you're open. We don't want to do that.
No.
We decided, no, you know what? The universe doesn't want us to do that.
Right.
I think the universe proved that to us.
Well, here we were talking about monetization earlier. If we don't make a penny out of this,
We don't
gives
care.
a rat's
We
ass?
don't care.
Okay, I'm not in this to do money. It's the same way that I look at my music. I'm having fun. I'm doing it for myself. If other people enjoy it, all the better. Yes, I want to share it with other people. Fame, notoriety, money, fuck all that.
I don't give a shit either.
Right. If we get there, awesome.
Yeah. Here, if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen.
Right. If it was supposed to happen, it would have happened by now. But anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, Coach. Yeah, all is very well. Coach, I don't know how much of our story you've heard. This is one of my coaches from Hapeville High School. Scott and I are both heart attack survivors. And,
survived because of the same device.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, and we're both coming up on anniversaries in the fall here. This year will be 2017, so 7 years for me.
12 for me.
12 for you, since our heart attacks. We both died. Anyway, we'll probably talk about that at some point.
Yeah, when we cross those markers.
Right. Well, I want to have Derek on.
That would be very appropriate.
Yeah. So maybe sometime between our anniversaries we can...
Maybe we'll do a unicorn bottle that night.
There you go. Have something really special for him.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple unicorn bottles. I hate to say it. But you know what's funny is one of the bottles that I have, I didn't know this because I looked because I wanted to make the point this week that we don't chase unicorn bottles.
Right.
I got a bottle that is I like rye whiskey. It's a rye whiskey. It's a Michter's toasted rye whiskey. Very, very difficult to find bottle. I think the retail price on that now is $99. At the time that I got it, it was $80. And I ponied up for $80. Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw it. Actually, I entered a raffle for a bunch of different bottles. I was one of the raffle winners. But here, it was a liquor store that I like that's here in town called The Good Pour. At the time, it was called Jigs.
Okay. I've seen the ads for Good Pour recently.
Great store. Good people. They donate back to the community a portion of your purchase.
Maybe we should just do a local
bourbon
hunt
we
sometime
could,
and
we
introduce
could do
some
that.
of our local guys.
Yeah, no, I would enjoy that, and I think they. Well, I know the Good Pour would appreciate that. I haven't not talked to anybody about filming in their store.
Right.
So obviously,
Right.
that's something we could figure out. But anyways, my point is that bottle on secondary right now, which is there's a secondary market for whiskey, believe it or not. The secondary market price in that bottle is $500 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's
Wow.
so hard to come by.
Yeah.
And I haven't cracked it yet.
Yeah.
I've had it for 5 years now.
Wow. So
I
it's a little extra
have
glass
not
aging,
cracked
but
that yet. So,
it still ages in the glass, right?
well, I sometimes here. I'm going to go back to this.
Okay.
A neck pour of this, which means the very first little bit,
Right.
the first ounce, the
joint.
first 2 ounces
Right.
are the neck pour. A neck pour of this is nectar of the gods. I mean, it's just that. Well,
Yeah.
he saved the bottle.
Yep.
And the double oak is here. It's a photo finish.
You want to do another one of these when we shut down?
If you got a lemon,
I do.
if you got honey, I'm out of. I only made enough for 2 drinks.
I may.
It's quick. It's a quick thing to make.
I got agave.
You know, I'm going to tell you something that's really cool. Dale DeGraff, a bartender that I talked about, opened the Rainbow Room in the Rockefeller Center, is the mentor to a lot of great mixologists. He's the one that really kind of brought the craft back to fresh ingredients in the 1980s. He's come out with a new syrup. It's called triple syrup. And it's simple syrup, honey syrup, and agave syrup in equal parts.
Really?
All in one thing. And it's a very unique flavor. And this particular drink, there's a riff on this drink. It's still called the Gold Rush, but it's called the Triple Gold Rush. Triple syrup used instead of just honey syrup. And I think that would be...
I have the other 2 right in there, so next time you want to do this.
Well, we'll try that.
Yeah, we'll try
and we
that.
could, again, the bee's knees is a drink that I know that you'll like.
Wow. Coach Bridges, he says his wife is a heart attack survivor and actually has a defibrillator.
Oh, God. I'm so happy that I didn't have
You and me both.
You got a box sitting inside your chest.
Now, Scott's been a little further down the journey than I have. He's actually had open heart surgery after his heart attack.
10 years after my heart attack.
Yeah. I'm, like I said, 7 years recovery. My doc calls me his miracle man. He says it's not only a miracle that I survived, but a miracle that my heart returned to normal function. His exact words.
No,
So-
that's the other thing that you and I have in common. Yeah. Our ejection fracture is how that's measured, which means how much your heart pumps when it squeezes outgoing, what percentage of the left ventricle exits.
Right.
Normal people, you guys walking around every day, professional athletes eject about 70%.
Right.
Sometimes a little higher than that.
Yeah.
Normal people walking around are in the high 50s to low 60s.
Right.
The last time mine was measured, 63.
55 was the last time mine was measured, and that's when he pronounced me, "You're back to normal" at that point.
That's astounding.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with...
I was at 40-something% at one point after the heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, because think about it.
And, well, I had the 100% blockage in the LAD.
Yeah, I know.
Left.
Both of us had what's called the Widowmaker.
Yeah, the Widowmaker. And if we'd not been at the right place at the right time...
It wasn't our time.
No.
Just wasn't our time. Our contract wasn't up.
Led to this.
the last sip.
Led to this.
Why don't you cue us out?
Loquacious libations, man, every week. Now, we, and for those of you who are just joining us or just getting used to us or anything, just a little recap for you. You just heard we're both heart attack survivors. We started this about 7 or 8 years ago.
At least.
Shortly before I moved into the apartment here.
Yeah, we were going to Lucky's.
Going to the grocery store and having
Lucky's
wine and
open.
sushi or...
Well, Lucky's opened I don't know when Lucky's open, but we went to the opening day.
Yeah, and did our
and kind of did our thing. We had our
sushi at that point.
Yeah,
but because it was a novelty, heck, you can get food and drink right here at the grocery store.
And it wasn't cheap crap. It was
right.
It was not grocery store crap.
Right.
It was
really
good
wine, really good beer on tap. So we came to start doing the beers and everything. Winn-Dixie turned over, from Lucky's to Winn-Dixie, and they kept the tap room, which is what it's called now. It's got a little place where you can get local beers and stuff on tap.
And reasonable price again.
Oh yeah, like $3 or $4.
They just didn't have any food. That was the thing. I mean, unless you got there early enough, you could get a Nathan's hot dog.
Right. But anyway,
I've been sitting around since 4:00.
So Randy and guys up there, if any of you ever watch, here's to you. We appreciate you still, but we just started doing it here at the house when I started building my little studio corner over here. Mm-hmm. And we do it every week. It's not about the drinking itself. I mean, yeah, we do the whiskey appreciation and everything, but it's more about, as we always say, making time each week to get together with your close friends and
appreciating the time together
and having
and the laughing and the good times, and it's your respite from the storm.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good friend, we'd like to be yours. Come and join us.
Come and join us every week. We post the recipes on Monday on our Loquacious Libations page on Facebook. You'll find the link to that on my music page, which is under Mad Hatter, where you're watching the show right now. We also have our YouTube at Loquacious Libations. We need you to go like, follow, subscribe, all of that.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yep.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bring all your friends next week. We want to see the pictures of you also drinking your drinks with us, whether you're having what we're having or not. Show us what you're doing while we're doing this. We want your participation. We'll have the poll up in just a little bit. We'll have this broadcast up to the YouTube as well. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.